I've been doing some studying, and it seems like Yahweh, the God of the Israelites, was originally an Edomite God. I know it sounds like a big claim to some people, but I will be using Bible verses to prove my point. Now please know I'm not here to bash anyone's religion or belief. I'm just trying to help those who can't see. First, let's identify the national god of the Edomites. The god's name is Kos. Some of those sculptures look similar to Zeus or even the Greco-Egyptian Serapis. Kos, or Kose, was the national god of the Edomites. He was the Idumean structural parallel to Yahweh. Idumean means Edomite. So that means Kos is the Edomite version of Yahweh, or Yah, as the Israelites call him. Multiple poetic refrains in the Hebrew Bible claim that Yahweh embarked in some form from Seir in the region of Edom. Now we finna use Bible verses to prove what these scholars are saying might be true. Yahweh, when you went out of Seir, when you marched forth from the field of Edom, the earth trembled and the heavens dropped, yea, the clouds dropped water. The mountains quaked before the presence of Yahweh, the one of Sinai, from before Yahweh, the God of Israel. God came from Teman, and the Holy One from Mount Paran. According to Wikipedia, Teman is the name of a district and town in the land of Edom, named after the grandson of Esau. As you can see, this is Deuteronomy 33, and this is the blessing wherewith Moses, the man of God, blessed the children of Israel before his death. And he said, the Lord came from Sinai and rose up from Seir unto them. He shined forth from Mount Paran, and he came with 10,000s of saints. From his right hand went a fiery law for them. As you can see, there's plenty Bible verses that's implying that Yahweh was a god from Mount Seir, which we know is in Edom. Some Israelites will show you a picture like this and associate the eagle with Edomites. But did you know throughout the Bible, Kos, or Yah, or Yahweh, associated himself with an eagle? This is Exodus 19:4 from the KJV. Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. This is a clear indication that he's relating himself to an eagle. KJV, Deuteronomy 32:11. As an eagle stirreth up her nest, fluttereth over her young, spreadeth abroad her wings, taketh them, beareth them on her wings. Now, let's deal with the deception of the character who supposedly wrote the first 5 books of the Bible, specifically the Old Testament. Now, believers would have you believe and not know that the name Moses or Moshe is derived from a Hebrew source, when in fact his Egyptian parents named him Moses. It was a common trend throughout Egypt. This is from the nationalgeographic.com. The book of Exodus says that his name is derived from the Hebrew verb Moshe, which means to draw out. However, Mose or Moses is also a very common Egyptian patronymic, as in Tutmoses, meaning son of Tut, or Ramesses, meaning son of Ra. We finna look into this and see what they have to say about the validity of Exodus. The events described in Exodus and Numbers and resumed in Deuteronomy take up the story at a very much later period. They begin with the birth of Moses and end with his death. They cover the Exodus from Egypt, the halt at Sinai, the journey to Kadesh. The texts are strangely silent about Israel's long stay there, and through Transjordania, the settlement in the plain of Moab. Unless we concede that these events really happened and that Moses is truly a figure of history, the subsequent history of Israel, its loyalty to Yahwism, and its attachments to the law will all defy explanation. There is no mention of this in any of the ancient witnesses if we accept the obscure allusion on the stele of Pharaoh Meneptah But what the Bible relates is in broad agreement with what the text and the archaeologist tells us about the Hyksos invasion of Egypt, these invaders being for the most part Semites, about Egyptian administration in the Delta, and about political conditions in Transjordania. Now this source is from the Real Jewish Bible Society, and even they is saying there is nothing to corroborate what happened in Exodus, Numbers, and in Deuteronomy. So there is nothing to corroborate the story of Moses. On top of that, the so-called plagues of Egypt from the Bible were taken from a much earlier Egyptian source called the Ipuwer Papyrus. The Ipuwer Papyrus says, "Plague is throughout the land, blood is everywhere, the river is blood." Exodus says, "All the waters of the river were turned to blood. There was blood throughout all the land of Egypt. All animals, their hearts weep, cattle moan. Behold, cattle are left to stray, and there is none to gather them together." And the Torah says, "The hand of the Lord is upon thy cattle, which is in the field, and there shall be a very grievous sickness." Then it says, "The land is without light." Torah says, "And there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt." Mount Sinai is a mountain situated in the desert of Sinai, famous for its connection with the promulgation of the law by God through Moses. The general opinion of modern scholars is that the name Sinai is derived from the name of the Babylonian moon god Sin. And do you know this god? Tammuz. The Sumerian god, right? It's also the 10th month of the Hebrew calendar. Then there's the connection between Proverbs and Amimope, the wisdom or instruction of Amimope. As you can see, Proverbs, "Give ear and listen, apply your heart to my teaching." The wisdom of Amimope, "Give your ears to hear what is said, give your heart to their interpretation." Same thing, different words. "Do not exploit the poor man because he is poor, and do not crush the needy in court. Beware of oppressing a poor man. Do not defraud a man in court. For Yahweh will take their case, and he will plunder their plunderers. It is the moon that declares his crime. The hands of the God will strike him down.